on. Um, Kathy, can you tell me that whether there's sound now? Thank you very much for that. Um, Interesting that the settings that we went through last week, Vivek, seem to have done something.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll have to go back and look at it again. So I'm hoping that somebody will tell me whether they're getting sound now.
Yeah, I'm getting sound now.
Oh, it says all is fine now. Good. Right
Yeah.
on. so, so, um, so Vivek and I, well, we got together and worked on this, and just to give a little bit of backstory, I know that a lot of our participants do know about this. They've heard me grumble and groan about the LearnDash plugin that I was using some time ago, so that I could put courses on my website. And I paid big bucks for that plugin, and never really got it to work the way it should. And there were all kinds of issues that I just never could find a way or anybody who could show me how to overcome those. So I gave up and asked for a refund and actually received one. So I was happy about that. So then I was left with, so now what? What shall I do now? And one day, Vivek and I were having a conversation, and he said, well, I wonder if there's a way that we could use the Google products. So we spent a few sessions, a couple or three, and actually, Javita was there with us a few times. Uh, I'm going to tell tales out of school, Javita. I remember a couple of them where Javita fell asleep. Of course, in the time difference in India wasn't considerably. Here I was working in the morning, and she was working in the wee hours of the morning in India. So, but we did figure something out. So just recently, I have uploaded and actually invited people to go in and give that course a try and give me the feedback so that I know whether there are other things that I need to tweak to make it work, etc. So anyway, we decided that it would really make sense for us to talk about this process that we went through. So Vivek and I put together a presentation, which Vivek is going to share his screen so that we can walk you through exactly what it entailed. We're going to try not to be too geeky, and so that we're working basically because it is really difficult from OBS for me to share my screen in certain ways. So it's Vivek who is sharing his screen so that we can show this.
I wonder if you can see the screen that I'm
Yes.
sharing. Yes. Okay.
Yes. Yep. I can. I can see it in OBS as well. So it's showing up okay, I think.
Yeah.
and
Okay.
and Javita says in the 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 YouTube chat, it's all good. I really learned a lot. so so
Yeah. Actually, I read somewhere that actually when you are even in your sleep, you can learn quite a lot of stuff.
oh, how cool. Okay, so Vivek, if you want to advance the screen.
Yeah.
So we, as Vivek will always remind everybody, the place to always begin is to talk about why. So why this approach? Well, I was looking for something that would keep my visitors on my own real estate. And I was also looking for something after the previous fiasco that was not going to break the bank. Something that trying to use and to use tools that I already know how to use for the most part. So those were the reasons for me. What about you, Vivek? I mean, why did you want to jump in and do all of this?
Yeah, it's mainly we should always start with what we have
Mm.
and what we know. And it's I've seen people um, know so much but still don't use what they already know,
Mm.
because they don't bring things together. They kind of try to separate things, and then my thing would be, I mean, yes, you divide and then you conquer. Yes, that's how the empire was built. A long story, but uh, but you conquer someone else, not you divide someone else, not yourself. So when you are the one who is doing something, you need to bring together different technologies
And what you've got. Yeah,
with
yeah,
what you have.
yeah.
So yeah.
So that was why we decided to do this. I think I said in my blog that I circulated this week that my coach always recommends putting keeping people on your own real estate, and that's always whenever you listen to anything that Jay um, says about things, he will always say that. David, you're waving.
Yeah, we are only showing on
Yeah,
YouTube a little corner of the screen.
yeah, and
It's
I
only showing you why this, and then it cuts off approach, and
yeah,
it doesn't show us or anything.
and I there's nothing I can do about that right now.
Okay.
Um, I mean, if I wanted to stop and start again, but I don't think it's probably, well, we'll see.
Do you think if I stop the screen share and start
Start
again, will
again, maybe. Let's see.
let me try?
So, I mean, in when I'm looking at an OBS, I can see the full screen that I'm using. I can see the whole thing. Now, oh, maybe. Do you know what? When you did that, I got the
Mm-hmm.
full screen and then it for a minute. So try a different approach to the sharing of the slide.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah, no,
I'm sharing the entire
no. Go back and
pages.
try
Okay.
not sharing the full screen.
Or maybe.
Hmm. Yeah. We got the full screen just for a minute and then it goes to a different thing. So maybe what I need to do, let me see what I need to do. Hang on. If I were to um, view options, exit full screen. Hey, there. I think we got the problem solved. Thank
Okay.
you, participants out there in YouTube land, for letting us know. There, perfect.
Yeah. So why this approach? Yeah. I
Okay.
think shall we go to the next
Yes.
slide?
Yes, please. So there are a few things that we decided today that we weren't going to really go into, but that there were some things that you would need to do in preparation. So I mean, as you're sort of putting together a course, of course, the first thing you're going to do is decide on a course title and a course structure. So, for example, how many modules you're going to have, and how all that will work together, and the course structure and course content. And I guess under structure, I mean, in some cases, you might want to create a few videos or presentations or PDF of content, etc. And the other thing you would need to do is to go find any images that you might need for your course content. So there are a number of things that you need to take care of before you do what we're going to show you right now. So um, then the next piece is you in Google Docs, you create one document for each module. And so what you're seeing on the screen right now is I just pulled out examples of that one course that I have uploaded. It's called How to Find Your Passion. So in each case, you can see on the screen here there is an image at the top, and then there's some text, and so basically what we're suggesting that you do is that in that document you put any links and any images, etc. I guess you would probably, if you wanted to use a video, you would probably embed that in there as well. Would you not, Vivek?
Yes,
Yeah.
you can. Yes.
Yeah. And the reason for going this route is that you've got without messing with your website, you can go in and make changes to this document without having to make any changes whatsoever on your website. So that was a sort of an advantage. And I found that kind of interesting to use that approach, because I've been used to working on my website and uploading all the images and doing all the texting and doing all the formatting and all of that. I was used to having to do all that on the website. And in this case, what you're doing is you're doing all those things in a Google Doc. And then so the next item is so there is an image or a picture of my Google Drive file. So I've created a folder with all of the modules and everything in there so that they're all in one place and really well organized. So that was the first step, was creating a doc for each module. Okay, so next one. And then the next step is to create a form for each module. So So you go to forms and you can input a nice looking header, as you can see that I've done, and then you create this form for each module, and each one of those forms asks for the person's email address, and it allows me to ask them to answer a question, etc. So then,
So yeah, I think it's important here to ask a question in the um, form, because you want to keep track of what the participant is doing, how far have
right,
they progressed. So this answering the question by the participant will let
yeah.
you know
Hmm.
that the participant has progressed to this stage.
So what I did for this very first one, I kept the question like a one word or a one sentence thing, just because this was a test to determine whether this process even would work. So I kept it really simple. But I mean, if you were really working on a website, you would, or on a course, you might want to ask your participants to fill in a couple of things. Okay, David, you're waving.
Yes, Javita would like to know, how do you create a table in a doc?
How to create a
Oh,
table.
she's also joined us in the live.
She's here. It's in the menus. So
Just as you would create a table in Microsoft Word
yeah,
document, you
yeah,
can do the same thing even in
yeah.
Google Doc.
So your Javita, your question would require that we go into Docs and demonstrate, and we're not set up to do that right now. So, if you still want to know that later, we'll show you. Okay. Again, you could create a form for each module. Okay.
So when the participant fills in, goes through the module, then they are expected to fill in the form and submit. So that only then they will be able to go to the next module. That's the
Right.
way this whole thing is set up.
Right. So I just took a screenshot of my forms, and you can see that there's a form in there for each one of the out of the modules. So, and this is all just going online and using your Google products from within Chrome. Chrome. Okay. So the next step was to go to the back end of your website, and you create a web page for each module. So as you can see by the picture that's there above is the content. So that is the Google Doc that is embedded. So basically, when you create this new website for each module, there's basically two things: an embed for the doc, and an embed for the form. So that's basically what all that the website really has. Right. Okay.
And you do need to use a plugin called
Oh
as
yes.
unlist post and pages
Right.
to prevent others from sneaking in. uh, Essentially, I mean, you don't want the course pages meant for the course to be indexed by Google. You don't want them to find it by accident. You
Right.
want to prevent that from happening because you want them to sign up for your course and go through your course,
Mm-hmm.
not just sneak in and get some thing and then go away.
Yeah.
That is many times it's harmful to them as well because they are getting only half, or no, not even half, just part of the whole picture, which is
Mm-hmm.
dangerous.
Vivek, what was the name of that plugin again?
Um, I think it is called as unlist post and pages.
Yes. Yeah.
If you go into WordPress
Plugins.
and plugins,
Thank you.
Somebody's playing something.
it's my Google lady.
Oh no. You said the magic word. Oh dear. Okay. So while I'm here, I think I should also say yes, you create a web page for each module, but the very first module would be kind of your intro, and it would be that first page would be the one that would lead to a course, registration. So, and then, of course, you need to create a landing page, and that one is not listed. You don't unlist it because you want people to find it. So you can see that I have created a landing page on my website for this one course with a button that links to that first page that allows people to read the content of all of this and click that they want to register.
Yeah, so what you're essentially saying, I'm actually repeating, probably rephrasing what you just said. This page is one which is indexed. We
Yes.
want this page to be indexed by Google and
Hmm.
found by people and so on and so forth. So when you actually in WordPress, when you install that plugin that I mentioned, it gives you an option to um, unlist and not make it available to the search engines, etc., a particular page, or by default every page is listed
Yeah.
and indexed.
Yeah.
So
It
if you
showed.
want a particular page to be not listed and not indexed, then you have to click a button,
Yeah.
checkbox there in
Yeah.
that plugin.
Yeah.
So for in this case, this page is
Listed.
indexed, listed,
Yeah.
and indexed.
Yeah. So then we wanted to. So those were the steps that we needed to take. But then we realized that it might make sense to show how, when you go back to your forms, you can go to responses, and you can see who has signed up, and you can keep track of what the student's progress is. So you know who's signed up and how they answered all of the each one of those forms. So that is certainly very useful as well. And one of the things that we did set it up is that when the person fills in the form, it takes them, they get an email showing, giving them a link to the next module. So that's the student. And for me, the provider of the course, I also get an email saying that so and so has just signed up, so just filled in this form. So I get emails tracking all this progress as well. But you can go and see it all in one place if you want to. So there is when you have a form, there is a way to go in and see the spreadsheet that gets created behind. And so what you're looking at here is the spreadsheet that's in behind one of, I guess it was module 2. So, and Javita, I see, and when you and I did send you a message about your concern. Javita got sort of caught halfway through, and we determined that maybe what happened was one of those modules went to her junk mail or her spam mail. Not sure. We'll have to talk about that more later.
Yeah, sure.
So anyway, this is what you see, the spreadsheet that's in behind the form. And I think next slide. So I know that you this is quite small and very difficult to read, but behind the spreadsheet there is some coding. And this is where all of the steps that happen. This person gets an email, that person gets an email, this person gets the email with the link, etc. So, and this was where, I mean, I certainly had no problem setting up the forms. I had no problem setting up the Google Doc, but let me tell you, this was where I needed Vivek's help, because he's the expert coder.
It's just a little light JavaScript, nothing too complex here.
But Jay, you know, as I worked through all of this with Vivek, I can't tell you what I learned about all of this, and I know where certain things are. We actually set this all up using Site Rubix.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we did it all over there first, and then as I moved it over to the website, all I needed to do was change that very first line. So I have to say, I mean, there is some coding in there, but on the other hand, there's some things that as you start to read it, it makes really good sense. The tricky part is recognizing where there might be a space that there shouldn't be, or there isn't.
Yeah, or a semicolon. Or
Yeah.
Many little
Those
damn
are,
you semicolons.
Yeah.
Damn you.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I did want to show the behind the spreadsheet, because that's what really drives how all these pieces are put together.
Yeah, you know why semicolons are used instead of a dot or a period? COBOL used to have that period.
Period, yeah.
And that is even harder to see on a computer screen. You don't see the period, and things will...
Everything just blows up, yeah. Well, you and
Semicolon
Lalan do
is
very
easier
clean
to-
work. Yeah, very clean coding, so I like the indentation. That's good. That's really good.
Yeah. So, Vivek, do you want to show the next screen? So
Yeah.
now, what's next? So what I really wanted us to do is recognize that this is something that Vivek could really help you with. He has a lot of Google knowledge, and he has the coding knowledge as well. And I have found that it's pretty easy for us to go into Zoom or Google Hangouts, and I can share my screen, and he can be watching and say, you know, go here, go there. I mean, him walking through was fabulous. So yeah, so I insisted that he provide some links to his website so that if anybody else would like to try doing something similar, that you would know where to go and find Vivek. So, Vivek will always start with the why. So there's his why page, and it talks about his reliability and his philosophy, etc., etc. And then, if you want to see what Vivek is likely to be able to do for you, you can go into the next page. It's called What. So, and as I will say, and I'm sure Vivita, you would probably say the same. I mean, she sat in lots of. We did most of this just after this session. We just stayed in Zoom and kept on going after everybody left, didn't we? and and so when you need some support to work on something that you're not sure of, it's really easy to do, either in Zoom or Google Hangouts. I'm sure there are other ways to do it as well. Those are the two ways that we have worked, but it really I encourage everybody to go in to my webpage. The front, you'll see it says online courses, because I would really like to know how, like, once you go through the process, I would like to know something about your experience. What was it? Was it like? Is this worth? Is this worth my repeating this process for the other courses that I have? I would really like to know that, but you won't be able to answer that without going in and trying it out. So, Vivek, did we cover everything? I hope we did, and we are reasonably within time. So I wondered if any others had any comments or questions that they would like to add.
I just like how you kind of used the system to basically ask someone a question, almost like a quiz, to get them to that next stage. So
Yes.
as opposed to, well, this is what you need to do to get to the next stage, right? So that's smart. So that way it doesn't look like it's hacked together, if you will, because then you're creating these steps. Like, all right, well, here, what about your, what did you learn today? So that's good. Creates interaction.
Yeah.
And interaction will create engagement. So
yeah. So it does facilitate that ongoing engagement. Yeah. Next time I will definitely those questions will become more kind of involved, and I kept it really simple for this one because it's a test.
Right. And are you going to do this with a paid course as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
I mean, this could be another question for another day, but how are you going to integrate your payment gateway? So let's say it's PayPal.
Yeah.
Into that funnel.
So that very first, remember when I said the very first module that you create, that one will have a link to PayPal, a button that goes to PayPal.
Yeah. And then after that button that goes to PayPal, how are they going to go? Does it get redirected back upon successful payment? Gotcha.
That's the way it works.
Yeah. So you set that up in PayPal.
Yeah, I have not looked into Stripe. I do have a Stripe account. In terms of whether I'll be able to integrate that or not, I haven't gone that far.
Yeah. So if you're doing this kind of all bootstrapped with Stripe, there'll be some extra, like if you wanted to embed like a payment page, there'll be some extra coding involved there. So.
Yeah.
Just be warned with that.
But even so, I mean, just even to have a PayPal account. I mean, most people, I know there's the odd person that really hates PayPal, but you don't even need a PayPal account anymore to use your credit card. So, um, but anyway, the important thing for me to know right now is whether the process of that is workable. Does it work? What is the user experience? Um, so
One of the, I would probably just add the fact that the emails, some of the emails went to spam folder is because we didn't add more stuff into each individual email. There were three emails which looked exactly same except for two words in each of them.
yeah,
That's why Google decided, okay, this is spam.
yeah.
The
So
easy way to overcome
yeah,
that is we just need to add a few more
yeah,
because they
and
were actually three different emails, but we didn't add more stuff there
yeah,
because these were the test.
yeah. Okay, Javita, you were waving.
Yeah. And one more thing I want to add. When you finish the first module, you send the link and like you send link to me and I got an email, right?
Yeah.
That happens every time. So
Yes.
every time I have to fill the email address again and my username. So I think that should not be like that.
Well, I noticed that when I was playing with it, if I filled in my email name and email once, it seemed to want to pre. I just started typing it, and it it pre-filled for me. But so from your perspective, having to put your name and email in there, you would like to see it just pre-fill.
Yeah, means once you enter in that module in that course,
Yeah.
so I expect that I should not have to type my username and email every time
Uh huh.
I
Yeah.
go through your course.
Yeah.
If you have a 5 module in a course, then I have to type 5 times my email address and username.
Yeah. And I don't know, given this system, whether that would be possible, because each one of those modules, each one of those forms, is a separate. Each one is separate. So I don't know. That's something we.
Um, the other alternative would be to create a username, which was the approach that Learn Dash had. Create a different user, so every person who subscribes for the course will have an account on Loveland's website,
Right.
and that makes the website management messy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Just a thought. Well, like I understand what Javit is saying, because it's, filling in your name and your email in every module is unconventional, is where we are used
Yes.
to
Yes.
doing it only once and seeing it out.
Mm-hmm.
Vivek, what about a script where upon successful payment, their name uh, or their email at the very least is added to the sharing folder? So I don't know if that would help in terms of where pre-fills any form from module 2 and beyond after they do it just once.
Yeah,
Just a thought, right?
Yeah, for the paid courses, yes, that's a very good point. That's yeah, I'm thinking along those lines. Yes, but the point here is, for a participant, let's assume Lowlands course is so successful that thousands of people would jump in and register. When each of them registers and they go through module one by one, it's the participants' response which
Triggers the
takes
next one.
them triggers the email which takes them to the next module. So either one easy way for one response for Jivita's question is actually to allow the browser to save some of your login data for each website, or at least some of the websites, so that when you go to that website, that data is already available to you, and the form gets pre-filled automatically by the browser.
Mm.
But that has to be done by the participant. We can't do anything as a.
All right. So, I do get your point, Javita. It is um, seems like an inconvenience, but like I say, when I was testing, once my name was in there and my email was in there, I simply started typing and it pre-filled.
Okay.
Yeah. But you still have to do something. You have to answer the question in order to trigger the next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is it's interesting, and like I say, I mean it's wonderful to be able to use all the tools that I already have, and that I don't have to go out and pay a whole bunch of extra money. But if it's not a good process for the user, then I would need to find a different way. So, any other questions or comments? Because I see we're running over here.
No, I have gone through your course and it's really useful. And I just, as I mentioned, the module third is very useful for me also,
Mm-hmm.
because how to find out your passion. You have that section in module three,
Yeah.
and you have given different parts where we can
Mm-hmm.
go through our leisure activities, our educational activities. It's very interesting
Yeah.
section that
Yeah.
I really like.
It is a different, quite a different approach. I know. One that I created way back when I was doing career work, and you can use that when you're trying to figure out what your career direction would be as well. So that's when that was I devised that a long time ago when I was doing career work. Yeah, that's a long time ago. Any other comments before I remind everyone? Um, it's important to do what you love with passion. And we will see you next week. So, what I need to do now is hit Alt 4. Haha.